Welcome to the Everything Is Earned podcast. I'm your host, CLE Tallboy, and I'm here with Tim, aka It's Contagious, and we are breaking down everything happening in your Cleveland sports world. In today's episode, we are going to recap the Houston game and talk about how Baker played. We're going to get into the things we hated the most this year with the Browns. We'll also touch base on the Cavs and how things are going down there. And we're going to get into the final thing, which is probably be our most favorite segment, our three least favorite Browns and Cavs players. Five least favorite. Five least favorite Browns and Cavs players. Not only all time, but our current players as well. So getting right into it with the Houston recap. Obviously, everyone knows Baker throws the 3 picks in the first half. Not great, but it's all about how he responded. Big time response from Baker in the second half.
Yeah, he only had less than 50 yards throwing first half. Didn't look good. Wasn't feeling dangerous. But yeah, like you said, he responded very well. Is what you want to see out of the young rookie quarterback. And threw over 300 yards in the second half.
And when you're a rookie like that and you can respond in the second half, and he's having his second worst game, maybe his worst game of the year, and you can come back and play the way he did, that's big time. And had it not been for Callaway's drop and that dumb hold penalty, we might have actually had a game.
I don't know if it was a dumb hold penalty. It's one of the smart veteran holds, if you actually go back and look at it. Greg Williams basically prevented Baker Mayfield from being destroyed. He got beat right after snap. He did one of those veteran moves where he just kind of grabbed his arm, his shoulder, hoping that the ref didn't notice. But unfortunately, he called it, and it brought back a huge play. But
yeah.
It was one of those plays, but I don't mind just keeping a young quarterback on his feet.
Yeah, I could keep him safe. I'm okay with that. But I still would have liked to not had the hold.
Yeah, if you would have blocked perfectly and did his job, that would have been ideal. But
yeah, that would have been ideal, Tim. If everyone did their job perfectly all the time, it would have been very ideal.
But speaking of ideal, the Browns haven't allowed a sack in 3 games. That's the first time that happened since Derek Anderson was playing back in 2007.
Because Derek Anderson just chucked the ball at everybody, so he didn't have to worry about getting sacked. So it's fine.
Still an impressive stat. I mean, not from an overall NFL perspective. I mean, it's still impressive.
Yeah, anytime you can keep the quarterback from hitting the dirt and taking a sack.
Especially against a powerhouse defensive line such as the Texans.
Yeah, I mean, they're a top 3 front seven. I mean, they got a pretty good front seven.
You got a defensive player of the year in J.J. Watt, and then you have probably one of the best counterparts in Clowney, opposite side of him.
Yeah, they're real tough to slow down.
And that's a testament to Freddie Kitchens and the scheme that he's implemented since Todd Haley and Hugh Jackson was fired. He's played to Baker Mayfield's strengths. He actually watched film on him in college, unlike Hugh, which he didn't think was necessary. And he's gotten the ball. He's allowed Baker to get the ball quickly and make his receivers make the play rather than him hold on to the ball and have a young quarterback try to do that.
Yeah, you can't see me, but I'm shaking my head just thinking about Hugh Jackson. Like, I can't stand that guy. That was ridiculous. How you didn't think it was important to scheme up stuff for a guy who was really successful in college is ridiculous. Look what Andy Reid did over in the Chiefs and how well he's done with Patrick Mahomes. He schemed things up to fit his personnel. You don't square peg, round hole. It doesn't work.
Speaking of personnel, let's talk about Todd Haley not utilizing not even half of his weapons on offense. We talked about you have before Hyde was traded, you had 3 good quality solid bats that all brought a different aspect of the running game, and then you have 3 tight ends in Darren Fells, DeValve, and Njoku, who all bring a different aspect into either blocking or athletic playmaking. And then with the wide receivers, you have not that much talent.
Well, you traded away Josh Gordon, and also Todd Haley was in love with tight end screens, which are the worst. I can't stand tight end screens. Can we throw this out, please?
He's also in love with Njoku trying to block or trying to get him to block when you have a capable blocker in Seth DeValve.
Okay, so that's about it for the Houston recap. We know we didn't play well the first half. Everyone's like, oh, Baker was humbled. He played his butt off second half. I don't know if anyone saw it, but he played very well. he got back into the game and he gave his team a chance to win. He just didn't make the plays, down the stretch. We had the fumble and we had a couple other things, but it is what it is. And we move on to the Carolina Panthers, who are just not playing well at all. They've lost 4 games in a row. Cam Newton had 4 picks last game, and he forgot how many picks he threw so bad. So moving on to the Carolina Panthers, let's go get this win in Carolina and keep the season rolling. So now that we've talked a little about Houston, let's talk about, since the Browns are not in the playoff race anymore, I really want to get into the things that have bothered us the most and that we hated about this season. So the things that could have went well and turned into absolute crap. So, number 1, and this is on top of everyone's list.
It always starts.
Hugh Jackson. Top of everyone's list. What made this guy such a bad coach? I don't understand. I love that we found out how much the Browns hated him in the Cincinnati game. That was hilarious, and it's ridiculous that you have a team of players that hated their leader so much. Like, how is that not more evident to the front office, and how did they not figure that out?
Well, they found out he was fake after he left.
Hard Knocks, bro.
They were trying, Hard Knocks, but he went on 2, 3, 4 different shows and talked trash about the Browns. And why Baker responded the way he did is because Hugh Jackson was trying to preach this message like, follow me, I'll guide you to where you need to be, and I'll lead us to victory. And then he's preaching this phony message, and then weeks later, after he gets fired, even though he's getting paid by the Browns still, he's alright, I'm going to join a division rival who will still don't play twice this year.
Well, it's mostly because Marvin Lewis is his boy. He's like, I got you.
Who is basically Hugh Jackson 2.0.
He's not good. He's going to get fired too. It'd be hilarious if Hugh Jackson was the head coach of the Bengals next year.
That would be amazing.
But that's number 1. Number 2 on our least favorite things or most hated things this season. We just talked a little about it. Todd Haley. He wanted to run this archaic type offense, and him and Hugh just fought like little girls all season long and didn't want to get along. I mean, they're the leaders of the team, and they just were bickering ever since Hard Knocks, and Todd Haley was just not having it. And luckily, Jimmy Haslam showed him the door, and ever since then, the offense has been a heck of a lot better.
You mentioned a little bit. It started out when we saw it in the preseason or in training camp with Hard Knocks. Basically, Todd Haley was just trying to take Hugh Jackson's job all season. And I don't know if he was purposely trying to run his offense into the ground in order to help speed up that process, but ultimately it got him fired as well.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't score on any of the turnovers to start the season. They had so many turnovers, and they cashed in on none of them. It was horrible.
Fun fact, since Hugh Jackson and Todd Haley have been fired, so over the past 4 games, the Browns have scored a touchdown on all 12 of their red zone opportunities.
Boom. Points on the board. Baker Mayfield.
Freddie Kitchens.
Boom. All right. Number 3, Zane Gonzalez. This is so frustrating because he's playing hurt apparently, and then he's missing all the kicks in the world. And then we didn't release him. We didn't get in our kicker. Dan Bailey was out there. Some other quality kickers were out there. Even the Falcons picked up a backup kicker who is nailing 59-yard bombs. Dude was a beast. So I don't know why the Browns couldn't have got a better kicker than Zane Gonzalez, and he cost us games.
He didn't have a good track record from college either. He was a career below 70% percenter, and then that's not going to translate into a more pressure environment in the NFL.
Yeah, when things get harder,
typically the mediocre players rise to the occasion.
Yeah,
is that what happens?
That's probably what happens. I think that's what happens. That's what you look for when you try to find kickers. Number 4, we got the Pittsburgh game as a whole, and there was the missed field goal at the end when you could have won the game. How do you tie a football game? I mean, it's happened twice this year, but how do you tie a football game? It's not that hard. All these points being scored, and somehow the Browns tied Pittsburgh at 21 and couldn't hit a field goal.
The Steelers gave us that game.
Yeah.
Multiple times. It was here's another one, and another one. They basically just handed it so many times. Any other team, pretty much, in the NFL would have won that game.
Yep.
Except for the Hugh Jackson-led Browns.
So yeah, I mean the Pittsburgh game was just really bad, and Myles Garrett tried to win the whole game himself, and Tyrod Taylor wasn't good enough to get the win, so it's whatever. Anyways,
Speaking of that, though,
right after we played the Saints.
We did play the Saints.
We did play the Saints, and we lost that game as well. That game was also really frustrating because Zane Gonzalez.
Yes. It all goes back around. Zane Gonzalez was again awful because a mediocre kicker who lacks confidence is always gonna have a rebound game.
Yeah, isn't that the game where Tyrod had the bomb at the end?
Yeah, the Hail Mary to Callaway.
Yeah,
He overthrew him. He overthrew him badly, and Callaway was like, "All right, I'm just gonna turn on these 4.4 40-yard dash jets real quick."
Burners.
And this
book it. He booked it. He was like, "I got this. We're gonna be okay." And they were like, "No, we're not gonna win this game."
If nothing else, Callaway is freakishly fast and athletic.
Yep, that's true. Okay, number 6 is the Raiders game. This game annoys me so much on so many levels. So you gave up 45 points to the freaking Oakland Raiders. That team is a train wreck and a half, and you give up 45 points to them. Also, Hugh Jackson didn't go for it on 4th and short when you could have sealed the game in regulation, right?
Yeah, you saw teams. Oh, you saw the LA Rams have that same situation, just around that same time period. Maybe it was a week or two afterwards, where to close the game out, they decided to go for it on 4th down, and it was the same situation. They were up, and they could have ended it, and it paid off. Because
McVay was like, players. Get some, and then he got the first down, and it was game over.
That's the difference between bad teams and good teams.
Also, if you watched any of McVay's like locker room stuff,
he's amazing.
Yeah, he's the type of coach you want, not Mike McCarthy.
It's basically I want the coach version of Baker Mayfield. Mm-hmm. Can I have that?
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what Sean McVay is.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like a Shanahan type of deal, or like an Andy Reid type of deal. I don't know. Okay, number 7 here. We got the Buccaneers game. There's been a little bit of debate on this one because Peppers fumbled the ball after the Browns got a stop in overtime, and then they went and drilled a 59-yard field goal after moving the ball absolutely nowhere.
After missing a 40-yarder.
Yeah,
earlier in the game.
That kicker was doing something weird, and we lost the Bucs. They're so bad. They've been playing quarterback carousel all year long.
Yeah, they've been flip flopping with Fitzpatrick and Winston like every other game. One started, and then he benched at halftime, and the other one comes in, balls out, and then he starts, and then at the end of the week, there's a new starter.
All right, the rule is they're basically both not good quarterbacks, and they have to just get a new quarterback next year. Which is fine. Whatever.
We lost to them.
Whatever. We lost them. It was stupid. All right. Number 8, Greg Williams. Controversial. Because people think that Greg Williams could be a head coach candidate. And I say no. He's given up 26 points a game with his god-awful defense. And he's allowed a 30th in the league defense. And gave up 412
The amount of yards given up is 30th in the league. And it was 13th last year. Which seems good, but basically every game was over by halftime, so they just ran the ball. But the year before that, they were dead last in 32nd.
But we know that Greg Williams' defense is horrible, and he has no idea what to do with safeties.
Yeah, he just puts them like 20-25 yards out into Lake Erie, and just leaves them out there. I don't know if he's trying to put them on like the good time cruise over there, or what he's trying to do. But it takes
he's perch fishing.
Yeah, maybe.
Perch fishing.
Not on Sundays. But
in this house, we don't fish on Sundays.
But in this, it takes more than just to motivate your players than to be a good head coach. And if it's going to stay on as a defensive coordinator as well, then
no.
Then no, absolutely.
No.
His team is bad. He thinks he's ahead of everyone else. He thinks he's smarter than the entire league, but he's the only defense coordinator that puts that safety 20-25 yards out every single play.
Here's why I don't want him to be the new head coach, because, or at least on as defensive coordinator. That's a better way to phrase it. Sorry. So I don't want him to be the defensive coordinator because, say the Browns start next year, everyone's gonna start calling for Greg Williams to take over his job, and then you could have internal discord with players that played under him this year. So at the end of the year, cut ties, get a clean set of coordinators. Side dedications, but get a clean set of coordinators and go away and go from it. So that's number 8 with Greg Williams. Number 9.
So frustrating. I can't get over Greg Williams. He's so bad.
All right, well, let's get to number
11
9.
on 10 every single play.
Can we get to number 9? Can we get to number 9, please?
Can I say that one more time? 11 on 10. All right, no, you can't.
All right, number 9. Number 9, Jimmy Haslam. There's always some blame to go around for Jimmy. Don't forget about our boy.
Oh, man.
Our boy, Mr. Pilot Flying J himself, Mr. Jimmy Haslam. He messed up royally by letting Hugh be the head coach again.
Before we get into that, let's just say it's a feat. It's an accomplishment in itself when you're the worst owner in Cleveland sports. And you're competing with Dan Gilbert with that one, which is pretty difficult to top that. But somehow,
difficult.
Over the last decade or so, Jimmy Haslam has done that.
I wanted to say an F word right there.
Well, we didn't.
We didn't say an F word. Good job at us. Yeah, he's pretty bad, and Hugh Jackson should have never came back, and it's Jimmy's fault. So
he did some kind of mind trick wizardry or something like that.
Yeah,
I think
continuity, as it were.
He's a good guy. That's why I brought him back.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. He's a great family guy. He works hard. You know, basically the same reason we drafted John Sexton, but we're talking about football.
Whatever. Anyways, number 10 is the refs. The refs have sucked all year long, and they've given the Browns a pretty bad whistle for most of the season. Starting with the false start that they didn't call on the Chargers game.
That got the ref fired mid-season, which is the first time that's ever happened.
Boom, because he's terrible. It also happened in the Chargers game just the other day, too, by the way. So it happened twice for the Chargers. Also, there's the Baker Mayfield hit to the head that was egregious and not a foul, apparently. And the ref said...
He said to the entire stadium that it wasn't a foul, it wasn't a penalty because he was a runner. So apparently if you're a runner, you're allowed to get hit in the helmet.
He got drilled, and the NFL fined the player and, didn't do any retroactive, suspensions or anything. But if they fined the player and the ref was super wrong, it sucked, and it was not good. So, yeah, the refs have been really bad. I haven't been a fan of them. I thought they were been giving the Browns a really bad whistle most of the year. So that's number 10 for our...
Yeah, there's one game that we got the favorable whistle. Was that at Atlanta?
Yeah. Oh man, we got the Browns got.
It was
so
weird.
Many
we were on the good side of the ref battle of that game. It felt good.
Yeah, they actually got a good call that whole game against Atlanta, so they got the benefit of the calls that game. But every other game they pretty much sucked. So that's gonna do it for our top 10 most hated things of this Browns season. And that's just because we're out of the playoffs, so now we have to talk about next season and what to look for the rest of the way. So, the rest of the way, Tim, what do you want to happen with the Browns last 4 games?
Ideally, you would like to split it. You play up Carolina, who's been awful lately. They've been very inconsistent, but you know they can play very well. So that's a game.
They're talented. They're just really poorly coached, I think.
And Cam Newton relies on his athleticism too much.
He's so inaccurate.
Then we play Cincinnati again, Baltimore,
Boom.
and
Hugh game 2.
Baltimore, and who's the fourth?
Oh, it's
Denver.
Denver, yeah. Denver's gonna beat us.
Yeah, so that'll be a difficult game, but you would like to see the Browns win the Baltimore game and the Cincinnati game.
Yeah, I'd be cool with it.
Baltimore will be trying to should be resting their starters, I think, most of them.
Unless they're competing for a spot in the last game of the year.
That last game.
Which I would kind of like beating them. Though.
But either way, I think we have a good chance to win.
Yeah.
When you have a good quarterback, which I think Baker is, I think you always have a chance to win.
It's just interesting. We're at this point of the season, and normally we're really, really frustrated with the Browns. We're like, what the hell?
Trying to fight with everybody, just blow up our entire team. Yeah, looking for the number 1 draft spot.
Yeah, but we're a different state because Baker Mayfield has fixed things, so that's pretty great. And John Dorsey, So
Buddy boy.
The other thing we're really looking for last couple games of the season here is obviously you don't want any injuries to Baker. If you can protect him, continue to protect him. Don't let him get hurt. I don't want anything to go into next year or to affect his career progression. So if you can keep him from getting injured, that'd be best, and that way continue his development upward. All right, so here's my little wish list. Here's the wish list for the last 4 games.
Landry not be awful.
Boom. You want to go 2-2, beat Cincy, and then beat Carolina probably. You'd like to keep Baker safe and not have any injuries that are going to stop his progression. I think you should shut down Denzel Ward the rest of the year. He's had 2 concussions already. He's currently in the protocol. I don't think we need him to get injured at all. I think that'd be great if we could shut him down. We want to get some chemistry going with Baker and Landry because it's been non-existent basically.
And he's going to be here for a long time.
Yeah, he's got a big contract. Unless Dorsey's like, see ya, and then trades him.
And somehow manages to get rid of that contract, which I don't know how.
It's a big contract.
That'd be difficult to do.
I'll trade you Odell for Landry straight up.
That'd be good.
I'd also want to finish ahead of Cincinnati in the standings. So that's a big goal of mine.
And a few things. You want to see a few young players make some strides. You want to see Peppers make some big plays. He's been solid, but he's been lacking those big plays that would solidify the reason that we drafted him in the first round. And then you want to see, I love to see Greg Robinson continue his play, continue the way he's played, take over that starting spot for the foreseeable future, and not have to worry about that in the drafts or the free agency this upcoming offseason.
I don't think it makes you like not draft a left tackle at all.
But it won't be a high draft. It will be a project player where you can groom and maybe take a couple years to polish.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. So that's kind of what we want rest of the season for the Browns. So wrapping up with the Browns for the moment here, let's get over to the Cavs. Cavs, obviously, not having a great season. Love being injured and just recently trading Kyle Korver for Alex Burks. I like what Burks brings to the table, though. He had the game winner the other night versus the Nets, which is awesome. And he seems to fit kind of what the Cavs are trying to do. And obviously, I'm happy for Korver to go over and play for the Jazz and be on a competing team.
Yeah, back to the Jazz. But Alex Burks is very good. His stats haven't shown it. He's had a 13 and 15 point games, but it's been the little things. It's been like the off the stat sheet type of stuff where he just plays with toughness. He's a smart player. If you don't play under Quinn Snyder, you have to be a smart player. And he's a willing passer. And at this point in his career, he really has good feel for the NBA game. And it's kind of been he's been that stone that's kind of along with Tristan Thompson.
Yeah, they led the way. Both Alex Burks and Thompson have kind of led the team the last couple of games here. I like the way he's looking on the floor. The basketball IQ seems to be elevated.
Especially when you put Sexton on the bench.
Yeah, they definitely get elevated there. I'm glad to have George Hill back too, but it just seems that they have a better feel of the game when he's out there. He's an experienced enough player.
He's played with Rodney Hood and George Hill back in Utah too, so there's a little bit of prior chemistry there.
That is cool. I totally forgot about that whole aspect of it. That's a great point there, Tim.
A little bit about Butch too is I think he's kind of like what you want or wanted Rodney Hood to be. I mean, Rodney Hood is in the last year of his deal now, and he's just very consistent. He has games where he puts up 20, 25, and he looks like he's a 20 points a night scorer. And then there's other nights where he looks like he had an argument with his girlfriend like right before coming to the game, and he's been taking it out on like the rim or something, and just jacking up bricks. So that's been very disappointing. It is a new starting role.
Yeah, he's been in his feelings most of the year.
He has been in his feelings. He needs to talk to Drake. He's been talking to Drake.
I don't know. I think Hood, if he had the mentality of Burks, could be a killer player. He just doesn't seem to have that instinct that he wants to go out and get it. Like, I think he's happy being like an 8 to 10 point player, and like that sucks because he has the ability to go put up 20.
Yeah, he's 26, 27.
Yeah, he's got the skill.
And he's like basically the Cavs was like, hey, here you go, like it's your team, like go put up 20 shots a night, see what you can do. And basically Rodney Hood's like, I don't really care.
So here's why I think things will change a little bit. So we just heard today that Love is probably going to come back mid-January. When Love comes back, he's coming back to a whole different ball club than he left. You got some development that's happened. You have Burks that's been added. You have a little bit more of a chemistry. You have players that have elevated their games since he's left. And I think when Love comes back, this will actually be an interesting ball club to watch because you're going to get a lot of benefits of what Kevin Love does on the floor and a healthy Kevin Love because Kevin Love wasn't even healthy the first couple of games he played this year. And so that's big for me. I think watching him jump back into the leadership role with Tristan will be a lot of fun to watch. Like, say what you will about the Cavs season so far, it hasn't been boring. they've been entertaining, and I've been annoyed at times, but
Colin Sexton.
I haven't been like, this is unwatchable. I have to turn this off. It's been interesting watching them develop as a team, and I think they're getting better too. So, when Love gets reinserted, we'll definitely have to see how the Cavs are going to look. And I think it shuffles things up a little bit and makes it big. You're going to have some difference makers, like Alex Burks, whenever get some chemistry going there.
Yeah, you made a good point. Tristan Thompson has really stepped up as a vocal leader after LeBron left here, and he has elevated his game on the floor as well. You've seen him take kind of a step up his offensive game that he hasn't done in the first 8 years that he's played.
Yeah, man, where was this Tristan Thompson like 2 years ago? Like, I mean,
what was it the last 8 years? It's like he hasn't put in any offseason work over the past 7 years he was in the league.
Well, I think he was banged up really bad actually during his Iron Man streak. I think
mentally with the Kardashian.
No,
situation?
I think he was banged up from the whole Iron Man thing. I think he never rested his body properly, and therefore we're never getting the full Tristan. And now, because not only is he in a role where he can do those things, but he's also fully healthy. And when you're fully healthy, you can definitely play at a higher level. And he looks like a high motor all-star every single night. And I love what I'm seeing from Tristan.
Yeah, and he's had the freedom to kind of experiment a little bit and kind of gain that confidence that he's been playing with over the last 14 games or so. He's been playing like an all-star over the last 14 games.
The Cavs need a bucket like mid-game. Like, they go to Tristan, and Tristan hits him with the drop step spin move into the baby hook. I know it's coming as soon as he gets the ball. I'm like, this is his move. He's going to do it. We're going to get a bucket. And I'm like, I can't believe they're like, we need to get the ball to Tristan. Like, it's so weird to say, like, get Tristan a touch. We need to get a bucket here. It's got to happen.
It is very weird. But he will find that baby hook. He'll pump fake as many times as he wants until he gets the bucket. But what's been funny is, if you listen to the commentary, Fred McLeod has been saying game after game how he's added air on his baby hook shot, which is kind of funny considering he had 8 years to add air to that baby hook before. So maybe in the next 8 years he might develop a jump shot.
Yeah, no jump shot yet, but he's got the baby hook down, which is much better than he had before. It was kind of like a line drive hook shot, and it was always front rimming. That's about it with the Cavs. Let's get to my favorite segment that we've come up with today. We're going to talk about our all-time least favorite players on the Cavs and the Browns, and then we're going to do our current least favorite players on both the Cavs and the Browns. Let's go with the Browns right away here. My all-time least favorite players in the Browns, Derek Anderson. The guy could not throw a pass 5 yards on the field, but could throw it 80 yards in your lap. What the heck?
You never learned something called a touch. You thought you had to get there. He's like, all right, as long as I get to my wide receiver, I've done my job.
He's also had, like, no pocket presence. Like, he would sit in the pocket and just get drilled and be like, I'm Ben Roethlisberger. And I'm like, no, you're not. And then, number 2, I got Braylon Edwards. I can't stand Braylon Edwards and his stone hands because Derek Anderson would throw those 80-yard bombs into Braylon's hands, and Braylon would just choke and drop the pass and would get no touchdowns, and it was very upsetting. I didn't like Braylon Edwards at all because he had all the talent in the world and super underperformed.
I don't think he had the head either. He had the talent, he had the body, he had the physical attributes. I don't think he had the football IQ to take his game to the next level. We saw a little bit. We saw an outlier year in 2007, but then everyone thought they would make that jump into the playoffs in 2008, and it was a bit dud with him and Derek Anderson.
Okay, my next one here is the one that's going to piss people off. Brian Hoyer. I was sold Brian Hoyer as a good quarterback and an NFL starter, and we know it's not the case.
He was supposed to be the placeholder, the gap quarterback, as people call him.
Freaking gap quarterbacks. Brian Hoyer, just like Mr. Hero, is terrible. I don't like him, and we didn't need any of it. And I'm so happy he's not our quarterback. And I'm so happy that we have Baker Mayfield now, so people can see what a quarterback's supposed to look like.
He was equivalent to bad Case Keenum. He was part of that total collapse in 2014. We start 7-3, and then we lose our last 6 games.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Manziel was part of that too, but It wasn't great. Brian Hoyer is like if you got a burger at McDonald's and try to tell me it's a good burger.
Or
versus getting a burger at like the Rail and telling me it's a good burger. The burger at the Rails or the burger at B Spot is always going to be a McDonald's burger. Don't tell me otherwise. It's not a starter in my dinner.
Or it's like when you see fast food like on commercials and you're like, ooh, I really want that, and then you get it and it's like a smushed up like piece of cardboard garbage, and you're like, oh, this is not what I ordered.
Yeah, Brian Hoyer is not what I ordered. He's not what I ordered at all. No, thank you on Brian Hoyer. What do you got, Tim, for 4 and 5?
For 4 and 5, I would have to do Trent Richardson to start. He was picked third overall in the 2012 draft over players like Luke Kuechly, Melvin Ingram, and Bobby Wagner.
He's not great. He couldn't see a hole if it like hit him in the face.
You saw that in Oakland too. Like we traded him to Indy, they let go of him. Oakland gave him like the third or fourth chance or whatever. And there was one play where it was supposed to be like a misdirection where he had the line going all the way to the right, and all you gotta do is take the ball, like stop, be a little patient, and it was wide open on the left side.
Ran right into the line.
It's an awful choice, and that has to be 4 for me. And then Justin Gilbert will have to be the other one.
Justin Gilbert, oh my gosh, man. The dude had no desire to play football, and people knew that in the drafting process, and they were like told that.
It was like, he's very talented, he has all skill ever, he has good football brain, but we don't know if he loves the game.
And he didn't. He wouldn't return punts. Like for his combine stuff or the pro day or whatever it was, he wouldn't return them. Like, do you want to do some returns? He's like, nah, I'm good, bro. He's like, I got sleep.
He didn't work hard. He was the equivalent to Troy Tolman, or the equivalent, or the NBA equivalent to Andrew Bynum. Yeah, so much talent. He just didn't. He just thought he got there. He said, I made it. I'm in the NFL. Just didn't.
I made it. I got a sleep problem.
You can't do that.
I sleep real hard.
Just for fun.
I'm a hard sleeper.
He was drafted number 8, but just for fun, the players that we didn't draft instead, or we drafted Justin Gilbert instead of, just a few players. They're just okay. Aaron Donald, Odell Beckham, C.J. Mosley, and Anthony Barr. All have been Pro Bowlers, or have been one of the best in the positions, or the best. But,
they're okay.
Yeah.
They're just alright. Alright. So, that's our all-time least favorite Browns players. So we're going to go to our current least favorite Browns players. And these ones probably strike a chord with a lot of people. Number 1, Jamie Collins. Don't tell me, Greg Williams, that he's trying. I've seen the video. I've watched him not try. He likes to do the thing where players like kind of are around the action, but they're not close enough to make a play.
But they're never actually in the play. They're like around the outside of the huddle, or like around the outside of the tackle.
It's like staying safe without like being too bad on film, I guess. It's gross though. He's not tried in games this year, and I know for a fact, and Greg Williams tried to tell me that wasn't the case. Don't lie to me, Greg Williams.
What I do like about that, not what I liked about Jamie Collins, but about that situation, the players or coaches that have been asked about Jamie Collins, they back him up, not because they believe that that's the true answer, but because as a team you need to have like one mind. You guys all need to be on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
So that unity was good to see, despite how bad Jamie Collins is.
But still, he's not good.
He's really bad. He's really slow.
Don't want him back.
Too. You know why?
He dropped the pick 6 the other day.
He did a few times this year.
not awesome. Number 2, Tyrod Taylor. I was sold on Tyrod Taylor in the offseason.
I was happy about it. I was like, all right, we got a good starting, respectable quarterback until whoever we draft in this past draft develops.
Do you want to hear a funny story? We were in
Buffalo was right.
Yeah, we were in Cedar Point, Uncle Mike and I, and we had a Bills fan in line with us, and we're like, "Hey, Tyrod Taylor, what's his deal? Is he any good?" And they're like, "Dude, no. Like, you're gonna hate him like by week 2." And what do you know? I didn't even take week 2 to hate him. It was like the 3rd preseason game.
No, it was training camp.
Oh, he was bad.
We saw him in Hard Knocks. We saw him in his highlights. He just didn't look good.
Well, he also said
I
he
don't
had
think anybody
problems reading the defense in one of the preseason games.
Yeah, against the Lions in the preseason, we all know defenses play a very vanilla type complicated type defense.
Yeah, vanilla defense, baby.
Swiss cheesy vanilla defense. They're not showing anything. Also, side note, Greg Williams doesn't believe in that.
Base defense, base.
He doesn't believe in playing your base defense and not showing what your scheme is in the preseason.
Why?
Yeah, and that's part of why. This is one of the many aspects why Greg Williams isn't a good defense coordinator.
Well, if 31 teams are doing it, they're doing it wrong.
Yep, he's very smart.
Yeah. Last guy on the list. It's gonna make people mad too. Jarvis Landry. Not a huge fan so far. You also sold me on him being a number 1 wide receiver, and turns out he's slow, creates zero separation, and apparently never ever gets open for Baker.
He was paid number 1 money, as a number 2 going into the season. We hoped, or at least crossed our fingers, that Josh Gordon would be healthy or would be eligible. But then everyone had the idea that Jarvis, if needed, could be that number 1. And like you said, he hasn't shown zero ability to create any separation. And he's very, very slow. He's really only good in like the zone coverages. If he's in man, he's just eaten up. So he would be a very good second option, great third option. But he is not a number 1.
Yeah. Also, Josh Gordon playing well in New England.
It's so typical. We called it.
So typical. I'm sorry for everyone who has all this issues with Josh Gordon. I simply do not. If you're going to tell me you're mad at some guy for having an addiction, then you're mad at the wrong guy for the wrong thing. Like, people have addictions, and if we're just going to, like, turn our ears off to that, then that's fine. Like, but you're probably going about it the wrong way. I think he's a hell of a talent. Tom Brady loves him. New England's loving him, and he's gonna make a play. He's gonna make some plays.
He's gonna win
in the playoffs.
He's gonna win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, your biggest fear, Tim, as a Rams fan, should be Josh Gordon making the Super Bowl play and causing you a Super Bowl. That should be a legit.
It's been in my head. I thought about it.
It's a legitimate fear.
I woke up to nightmares.
Yeah. Oh, it's not great. So yeah, that's my my least favorite current Browns.
Yeah. What makes me frustrated about the whole Josh Gordon situation? I know it's repetitive, all this stuff. One thing I have to mention is that you went through him. You held his hand and you were with him the entire way over the several past years. And then as soon as he misses a meeting or was late to a meeting, you're like, all right, I'm done with you. It makes no sense. We've gotten past the difficult part of all the addiction and screw-ups and repeats.
I thought I heard he got injured at on the Browns facility.
Yeah, but he was also
shooting a promo video for something.
He was also late to a meeting, and that was like the final straw or something.
Whatever. Dorsey didn't want him there anyways, but still silly that happened.
Which is weird because he's dealt with cases like that. Kareem Hunt being the most recent.
Jeez.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, no one wants. Also, we don't want Kareem Hunt. Just for everyone's peace of mind. No, thank you. I'm fine with Chuck.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see someone like the Patriots sign it though. They always do that.
No, they don't want any of that drama.
They have money back in.
They're drama free though, dude. They need to. They don't want to do the drama. Belichick's doesn't answer questions and has no emotions. That's how they play football. He's the Greg Pop of football. No emotions.
But he's not as likable.
All right, last part here. All-time least favorite Cavs players.
Actually, last 2 parts, current and all-time.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Last 2 parts. We'll start with the all-time. All-time, Carlos Boozer sucks. Don't like him. He left LeBron. Signed a contract with who the hell did he sign a contract with? It was not a good team, and it was never the same. And you need to stay here in Cleveland. He didn't. He's kind of a traitor.
Oh, Utah's Chicago.
Yeah, Utah. He signed with Utah, that jerk. So not a fan of Carlos Boozer. That's my first one there. What do you got second, Tim?
I'd have to go with Antoine Jameson.
Antoine Jameson.
Mr.
Unconventional.
Unorthodox. It just meant bad. It just meant not good.
Whoop-de-doozy. Like,
just slide it in whatever way you can. He's like the reason that the whole tone, like, oh, it doesn't matter how it looks as long as it goes in, like, originated. Like, I know it didn't, but like that's where like the popularity took off. I think.
Yeah.
His gross, not only jump shot but offensive game.
Everything was awful about Antoine. I just think we could have had Amari Stoudemire instead, and we got Antoine Jameson.
Another good move by Cleveland great owner Dan Gilbert.
But I think it was Chris Grant. It was Chris Grant.
Yeah, but Dan Gilbert's still the owner.
Or Danny Ferry.
It's both of them.
Both of them. They conspire together to give us Antoine Jameson, and that's our second least
and
favorite
old Shaq, but
yeah, old Shaq.
That's not
overweight, out of shape, old Shaq. And then we have Mo Williams.
I don't agree with
I have Mo Williams. Okay, don't talk to me about Mo Williams being a great Cavalier because one, he flopped super hard in the playoffs. LeBron and the Cavs had won 60 games, and LeBron, Mo Williams, and Delonte West were cooking up a storm. And then all of a sudden, Delonte West and Mo Williams can't shoot it all. And it's mostly Mo Williams' fault because he was the number 2 scorer, and he didn't perform in the playoffs. Had he just woken up in the playoffs, hit the shots LeBron gave you in your shooting pocket, you've been getting all year long, we were dancing and taking selfies, and then as soon as it comes playoff time, we forget how to hit our shots and score the basketball. So, for that, Mo Williams is on my least favorite Cavs of all times. All times. All times.
All the times.
Every time, all the times.
Yeah, I don't agree with it, but okay.
Okay, so who are your three? You had Carlos Boozer, you had Antoine Jameson. Who's your third?
I was thinking Luke Jackson. He was one of those players, or it could be Larry Hughes.
Larry Hughes was a broken promise.
Yeah. No. I take that back. Ricky Williams. Not Ricky Williams. That's
Ricky Williams. He tossed a rebound to himself to get a triple double.
Reggie Davis.
Ricky Williams is the running back.
Yeah.
Ricky Davis is.
Ricky Davis would be my third pick.
Yeah.
There's a famous interview of him after like the summer that LeBron got drafted, saying that, oh yeah, he'll make a good addition. He'll be my running mate. He thought he was LeBron James was just there to like help him like on offense scoring wise, and he was like the main guy. But when you really when you're in the backcourt at the end of the game, blowing out Boston, one rebound shy, what do? You go to your side of the basket. Throw it off the backboard and catch it. It counts as a rebound, so we got a triple double. But it was worth it.
Totally worth it.
But yeah, he's not good.
Ricky Davis, baby.
Yeah, he thought he was an all-star. It's a glorified role player.
What a chump.
But Luke Jackson and Sajana Job would also be up there for me.
Sagana Job, what an underperforming player. Okay, so let's get to our current least favorite Cavs players. We got 3 of them.
I think we all. Not you all.
Not you all.
Me and Mike here agree on these 3.
Number 1, baby. Give me our first one.
So the one we dislike the most.
The one that we know. The one that's the least. It's
the least controversial or the most.
Least controversial.
We're throwing you a softie here, but Sam Dekker.
Sam Dekker. I'm not saying Sam Dekker is a bad basketball player. I'm not saying he's a good basketball player. He doesn't really have a game that translates. He's like the Cavs tried to find Green, the guy, what's his face? Jeff Green. Try to find Jeff Green again, and you don't hit Jeff Green's back to back. Like you're not gonna hit on another Jeff Green type player.
Especially a white Jeff Green who can't shoot, who can barely dunk.
Hey, white players can play too, Tim.
They can dunk too.
Have you seen Luka Doncic? Full can ball.
Yeah, but he's not Luka.
He's a white boy. How about Gordon Dragic? He's a nice white boy.
But yeah, basically Sam Dekker is just a player. Like if you
he's
go on
just a guy.
2K
He's a guy.
And like type in like random to randomize your player, like a generic player, you come up with Sam Dekker.
Yeah,
he's just a player on the court.
He's super generic. Yeah,
he's not really doing anything. If anything, he's pretty poor across the board. He tries hard, and blue collar go Sam, but not good.
Yeah, I don't
shouldn't expect much from him, but he's definitely one of my least favorite. on here. The next one.
Boom. Ante Zizic. Not a fan. Okay, for those of you who haven't watched the Cavs this year, Ante isn't any good. He's really bad. All he does is get beat on pick and rolls and not finish around the rim.
And turn the ball over constantly. He's top 5 right now per 100 possessions and turning the ball over.
He's really bad.
It's like 8.8 per 100.
You can put him in any trade package, and I would be very happy. Like, make room for a G League player that wants something.
Can I have cash or a washer dryer?
A washer dryer is always preferred.
Yeah.
If we need one.
I need cash for some tap space, but I also need a washer.
Yeah, for the extra laundry room the Q's gonna have.
From Colin Sexton working really hard.
Yeah, he's got a lot of sweaty jerseys he's gotta wash.
Yeah, he tries really hard.
He does
He's
try
that
very hard.
passionate.
So here's our final one for our least favorite current Cavs players, number 3 here, and I think everyone knows what this is gonna be. It's Colin Sexton for us. I don't want him to not be good. That's not the issue here. The issue is I don't think he has the ability to be the player everyone wants him to be.
He doesn't have star ability. He doesn't have all-star caliber potential.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't do anything like at an A+ level.
Oh, well.
It's
all very pedestrian, with maybe respectable, acceptable. But he doesn't do anything that really sets him apart from other of the 30 point guards that are starting in the NBA.
Yeah, he doesn't do anything elite. He's not an elite passer. He's not an elite shooter. He's not an elite dribbler. He's not an elite defender.
But he's fast. But he's passionate. But he works hard.
Those aren't reasons why you're going to be a superstar in the NBA.
I mean, it's half of it, but the other part are the intangibles, the skill, the IQ, that potential, the little flashes that show that, through consistency, through gaining experience over a couple of years, he might have that. He doesn't have that part. He has the half of it, the hard-working part.
I mean, even look at like Tristan Thompson. Like, he's never been an elite player, but he's been an elite in some of his abilities. Like, he's been an elite offensive rebounder for a very long time. He's been an elite screen setter for a long time. I mean, he has. He's always been available. He's had that Iron Man streak.
He's always been a reliable defender.
Yeah, he's been a reliable defender, absolutely. And a guy like that doesn't have all those skills, but he still does things at an elite level. That's why he's so good. That's partly why Tristan's having a great year. But for me, looking at Sexton, I just don't see that he has the ability to flip that switch. And watching him play the game, it's not like things are getting easier for him. It's now that teams have film on them. Now that he's, getting acclimated to the NBA game, he's improving, yes, but I don't see there being some big, switch where he starts just going off and playing a game we want him to be. I understand that we want him to be good because we are upset about going from 4 straight finals to
the bottom of the league.
Bottom of the league. Yeah, absolutely. And it's, that's the hardest part about the season, I think, as Cavs fans, is we've been just cruising through the regular season, and we've been get me to the playoffs. Let's get to the playoffs. We've been in this win mode. The team has been in the win mode, and then now we have to figure out as fans how to root for a team that's not gonna probably make the playoffs.
It's stuck in rebuilding, essentially.
So
with Kevin Love being out until mid-January.
Right. So we cling on to little rays of hope. And the Cavs media has sold us Colin Sexton as our ray of hope, and I just don't buy it. For as negative as a lot of Cleveland fans like to be, I don't understand why we're getting a lot of flack on this one, because if you watch enough basketball, there's nothing that's popping out about Colin Sexton that says I want him. And here's the growing thing that's interesting is, I heard Chris Fedor the other day, and I heard Jason Lloyd, and I hear Sam Amico, and there's more players, and not players, more analysts that are hearing this information from the Cavs and are hearing it around the league, that Sexton's probably going to be like an Eric Bledsoe type, and he's never going to make that elite jump. So he's going to be a piece, but he's not going to be the piece. So don't get it confused when you look at the stats. Colin Sexton might be a solid NBA player at some point, but he's not going to be the piece. He's never going to be a Kyrie Irving. He's not going to be your franchise cornerstone. So, the more you think about it, of last year going into this year, we basically sacrificed our opportunity to win another championship for Colin Sexton. So if you really want to get down to the deep roots of it, Colin Sexton is a symbol of why the Cavs didn't get another championship last year. You could have traded him for DeAndre Jordan. You could have traded him for something for Damian Leonard.
Just Eric Bledsoe, Paul George was in the running as well.
Yeah,
it's basically just Dan Gilbert's ego getting away. That's it. All came down to not re-signing David Griffin.
Yeah, so
and then all snowballed from there. Then you have a brand new GM in Kobe Altman, who's now getting a trade demand from his star point guard Kyrie Irving, and he thinks, oh, I have to do it. I have to fulfill this and get out of the way so it doesn't damage us the team chemistry. And there's an interesting conversation along those lines with. That must have been 24 hours within that when that trade happened. Was he spoke with LeBron in Los Angeles. LeBron was in LA for the summer, and he flew down to California to go talk to LeBron to see what his opinion on this whole Kyrie situation was. If he could fix it, what do you want to do about it? And basically, at the end of the meeting, they decided that they would bring Kyrie back in. And see if he can hash it out, and then go from there. And then must have been, I think 2 hours later, maybe within a day tops, Kyrie was traded, completely blindsided LeBron, which then was the falling out.
Yeah, so if you really want to kind of decompress it and think about the whole piece of Colin Sexton, you have to look at the emotions around it. And this thing that he symbolizes, and it's really kind of the start of a new chapter that we never asked for. We never wanted to be in this position. I mean, the Warriors absolutely wrecked the Cavs,
over the past 2 seasons,
over the last couple of years. I mean, you look at that 2016-2017 team. That team was really, really good, and they still got beat by Durant and the Warriors. I mean, we couldn't believe it. You're a month removed from the championship, and you hear KD is signing with the Warriors, and it just that's where it gets me is, you held on to this pick for dear life last year in hopes it was going to be something good, and it turned into Colin Sexton.
Dan Gilbert was saving for this exact scenario for LeBron leaving.
But here's the thing,
man. Came out to bite him.
Would you rather have Colin Sexton or DeAndre Jordan right now?
Well, DeAndre Jordan would give us a chance to still have LeBron or to compete with the Warriors this past playoffs.
Right. Or would you rather have
it's a toss-up.
Colin Sexton, or would you rather have Damian Lillard? I mean, so you get my point here. You held on to a pick because you didn't want LeBron to walk away and you be held with nothing like it happened the first time. But if you use the pick to flip into an asset, you don't think you could have signed DeAndre Jordan into a longer deal? You don't think you could have kept Damian Lillard? You don't think you could have gotten a Paul George? I mean, there's players that were out there and available, and we just didn't do it. So ultimately, that's our number 3 for our least favorite current Cavs player, and there's some complexity to it, but you can kind of see where we're coming from in terms of why he's not one of our favorites right now. So obviously we hope he gets better, but in the meantime, we know where he's at.
Fingers crossed.
So that'll wrap things up here for episode 4 of the Everything Is Earned podcast. Again, I'm your host, CLE Tallboy, and this is Tim, aka It's Contagious.
And as always in Cleveland, everything here is earned.